Now let's talk about the buildings around City Hall. This strip here is called Park Row, but it was once known as Newspaper Row. In the 1890s, there were 19 daily newspapers headquartered across from City Hall, which explains the statues of Ben Franklin and Horace Greeley, whose New York Tribune was one of the great newspapers of the day. His Tribune and the famous Sun building, which were behind me, were torn down to improve access to the Brooklyn Bridge. But you can still see the old New York Times building, which moved uptown and got a square named after them. Shortly after, the Herald moved uptown and got a square named after them. This is the Park Row building, and it was the tallest building in the world between 1899 and 1908, almost 400 feet high. Then came the Singer building at about 600 feet. And the Metropolitan Life Insurance Tower at about 700 feet, and then the Woolworth Building at almost 800. The Woolworth Building was the tallest building in the world for 17 years. This area has so many great buildings, from the Woolworth Building to City Hall, Tweed Courthouse, Municipal Building, Brooklyn Bridge. So many buildings get overlooked, but this one shouldn't. This opened in the middle of the 1800s and was the country's first department store. This was A.T. Stewart's Marble Palace, and it was revolutionary in New York in terms of architecture. It was also revolutionary in terms of method. At a time when people bargained, A.T. Stewart insisted on fixed prices because he didn't like the idea of haggling, and he didn't want his clerks giving preferential treatment to friends and family. He also invented the idea of the sale, marking down items that were damaged or out of fashion, like your skirt. That would be on sale. Punchline. 2 years after his death, A.T. Stewart's bones were stolen out of his grave and held for a ransom of $200,000. His widow refused to pay so much. Negotiations began, and the bones of the man so opposed to haggling were marked down to $18,000. And on the ground floor, is it any surprise, a Duane Reade drugstore. Technically, this one is geographically plausible. Duane Reade started in 1960 with 3 stores named after their warehouse, which was 1 block north on Broadway between Duane and Reade Streets. 10 years ago, there were 67 stores, and this year there are around 250 stores. So as I've said, everything in New York seems to be now a bank, a Duane Reade, or a Starbucks. Can it really be that bad? All right, just from this corner, Duane Reade, a Starbucks, a Washington Mutual, HSBC, Emigrant Savings Bank, Bank of America, Commerce, Chase under the scaffolding, Citibank, and another Duane Reade. In the Woolworth on the next block, by the way, you can find another Chase and another Starbucks. All right, let's walk uptown. I'm done here. Stupid banks. Duane Reade's everywhere. Starbucks. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have a latte. No, I'm gonna go to Duane Reade and buy myself some toothpaste. I'm gonna go to a bank and actually make a withdrawal. Oh, I forgot to withdraw. Let me go to another bank and make a deposit. Oh yeah, let me do a money transfer maybe. A.T. Stewart's masterpiece right here. Nobody cares. It's a marble frickin' palace.